The mirror arrived on a soft afternoon, sunlight bleeding through the curtains like a secret too shy to speak. Daniel's grin carried that rehearsed warmth he wore for clients, a salesman's pride polished into affection. "It'll open up the room," he said, his voice floating above the hum of the air conditioner. Elena smiled faintly, her reflection already wrong. A second too slow, the light bending oddly across her shoulder. The living room felt larger, yet closer, as though the air folded back on itself. Dust motes danced like lost thoughts. For a breath too long, Daniel's reflection lingered even after he stepped away. Elena blinked, heart catching. But when she turned, only her own tired eyes stared back, the weight of something unspoken pressing between them. The next morning, sunlight spills through the windows, harmless and ordinary. But nothing feels ordinary now. Elena makes coffee with a deliberate rhythm, trying not to look at the mirror. But it owns the room. Daniel hums softly as he scrolls through his phone, his casualness too clean, too rehearsed. The mirror catches them both, husband and wife. Reflections misaligned. The domestic calm staged like a performance. When he leaves for work, the door closes with a sharp click, and the sound echoes inside the glass a second later. That night, Elena cannot sleep. Every creak feels magnified. Every whisper of wind sounds like movement behind the glass. She tries to ignore it, but the mirror seems to pulse faintly, echoing her heartbeat. When she finally looks, she sees Daniel standing behind her reflection, his hand resting on her shoulder, though he's asleep in the bedroom. The fourth evening felt thicker, as if the air itself had learned to listen. Elena tried reading, but every time she turned a page, she caught movement at the edge of her vision, her reflection blinking when she didn't. Daniel sat nearby, scrolling through his phone, the blue light painting hollows beneath his eyes. "It's just the lighting," he murmured without looking up, but the mirror pulsed faintly, a heartbeat made of silver. When Elena stood to switch off the lamp, she heard it, a faint, rhythmic tapping from inside the glass, slow and deliberate, like a secret trying to get out. The next morning, Daniel decides to move the mirror. "It'll catch more light on this wall," he says, voice clipped, avoiding her gaze. Elena helps, fingertips trembling on the cold frame. When they lift it, a folded slip of paper flutters free. An old receipt, yellowed, ink nearly gone. She catches only a few words. "Estate item, seller unknown." Daniel snatches it up, forcing a quick laugh that dies in the quiet. When they hang the mirror again, the reflection tilts slightly, showing them not from the front but from behind. Two figures watched by an open doorway that doesn't exist. Sleep abandons Elena. Nights stretch into a fragile silence filled with faint mechanical sighs. The sound of the mirror breathing, alive and patient. Daniel insists she's overtired, but his words slide over her like static. One night, at 2:14 a.m., she hears footsteps in the living room. Barefoot, she drifts toward the glow seeping from under the door. The mirror flickers like a film reel, the reflection of Daniel walking into a doorway behind her mirrored self. But that doorway doesn't exist in their house. Her heart stops. The reflection lingers, showing him disappear into that phantom space, while his real body sleeps soundly down the hall. Days blur. The mirror refuses stillness. When Elena passes, it flickers faintly, her reflection glancing where she doesn't. Daniel's patience erodes. His tone grows sharp, clipped. "Stop obsessing," he says, each word heavy with quiet irritation. But the reflection behind him smirks, a half-second late, like an echo of his worst intentions. That night, Elena hears faint whispers, her own voice calling her name from inside the glass. Elena decides to test it. She sets her phone on video, facing the mirror while she leaves the room. The footage, when played back, makes her stomach turn. Her reflection remains, standing still, eyes fixed toward the camera long after she's gone. Behind it, the phantom doorway flickers again, just long enough for a hand, Daniel's hand, to slip through before the frame cuts to static. The whispers grow bolder. They come not from the mirror now, but from the air itself. Faint, layered voices speaking her name with Daniel's cadence. At breakfast, he hums a tune she hasn't heard before, low and wistful. When she looks up, she realizes she has heard it, from the reflection. The melody stops the instant she speaks. The silence afterward feels staged, deliberate. Elena's resolve cracks. She tries covering the mirror with a sheet, but the fabric slides off every morning. Once, she nails it shut behind plywood, only to wake with the nails scattered neatly on the floor, the glass spotless again. One evening, Daniel comes home late, smelling of unfamiliar perfume. He shrugs off her questions with an easy lie, but the mirror doesn't. It shows him still in that hidden room, leaning close to a woman whose face the glass blurs to look like hers. The mirror no longer frightens Elena. It taunts her. Its reflection whispers truths she cannot prove, offers glimpses that dissolve when Daniel enters the room. He starts locking his phone, taking calls outside, his laughter too easy, too rehearsed. The reflection captures his smiles even when he isn't smiling. When she confronts him, his irritation flashes like lightning behind calm eyes. "You need help," he says. But the reflection behind him mouths the truth he wants. "I'm lying." The words echo soundlessly inside her mind, the mirror pulsing like a heartbeat. Each night, Daniel's excuses deepen. The silence? Elena watches his reflection move after he's gone, pacing the mirrored world, restless, haunted. She starts hearing her name in his voice, even when she's alone. Once, she catches her reflection crying while she stands still, expressionless. The mirror becomes a diary of deceit, documenting his guilt in gestures too subtle for words. Her love for him erodes, replaced by a raw, dangerous clarity. When Daniel returns from another showing, Elena greets him with eerie calm. She no longer questions, she observes. Her silence unnerves him more than her accusations ever did. That night, the mirror's reflection begins to blur. The two versions of Daniel, separating like double exposure. One real, one rotted by secrets. The reflection turns toward her, its mouth opening soundlessly, and she understands. The mirror isn't haunting her. It's warning her. The next morning, Daniel finds her sitting before the mirror, watching herself breathe. Her voice is soft, measured. "Do you ever feel like you're being watched?" she asks. He laughs, dismissing it, but his reflection twitches, eyes flicking toward the unseen door in the mirrored space. She smiles then, small and knowing, realizing he's afraid. The mirror has begun to betray him too. By dusk, the line between reflection and truth dissolves completely. Daniel walks past the mirror and freezes. His reflection doesn't move. It stares at him, hollow-eyed, lips curving into the faintest smirk. Elena stands nearby, watching his confusion bloom into terror. "What did you do?" she whispers, though the words aren't meant for him. They're for the glass. The reflection leans closer to the surface, whispering soundless words only she understands. The house feels wrong now. Too quiet, too deliberate. Every sound, every silence, arranged like a stage set. Elena begins to notice patterns. The mirror brightens whenever Daniel lies, dims when he tells partial truths. One night, while he showers, she kneels before the glass and whispers, "Show me." For a heartbeat, nothing. Then the reflection shifts. Her mirrored self steps aside, revealing the hidden doorway again. But this time the door opens. The air in the room cools, metallic and damp, as a faint echo of footsteps fades into that impossible distance. She dreams of the corridor that night. Long, narrow, lined with mirrors reflecting versions of her she doesn't recognize. Each one whispers fragments of truth, all pointing to the same name, Daniel. When she wakes, her pillow is damp, her fingernails rimmed with silver dust. Daniel watches her silently from the doorway, his expression unreadable, as though he too knows what she's seen. "You were talking in your sleep," he says. She only nods because she knows he heard what she confessed to the mirror. The next night, Elena takes the mirror down. Behind it, plaster dust, an outline of rot, and a small hollow carved into the wall. Inside, she finds something impossible. A Polaroid of Daniel, younger, standing with a woman who looks almost exactly like her. On the back, one word: forever. When she turns the photo toward the mirror, the reflection doesn't match. The woman's face shifts, pale and blank-eyed, smiling too wide. The mirror hums louder than ever. When Daniel returns home, he finds her sitting in front of the uncovered wall, the photo resting on her lap. Who is she? Elena's tone is quiet, sharp as glass. He stammers. A client. Years ago. But the mirror disagrees. It flares, projecting his reflection, stepping closer to the woman, lips brushing her ear. "You said the same words," Elena whispers. "The exact same words." Daniel looks toward the mirror and flinches. For the first time, he sees the door behind his reflection. After midnight, Elena can't resist. She sits before the mirror, whispering her reflection's name as if it belongs to her. The reflection tilts its head and gestures toward the doorway beyond the glass. She understands. It's time to see what Daniel tried to bury. Her hand touches the surface, and this time it doesn't resist. Cold air spills out like breath from a tomb, and she steps forward. The moment her foot crosses the threshold, the mirror brightens, sealing the room in silver silence. Inside the mirrored corridor, time feels wrong. Every sound echoes too long. Every breath arrives a second late. Elena walks barefoot on the cold floor, each step rippling through reflections that don't always follow. The walls pulse faintly with whispers, her voice layered with another woman's. At the corridor's end, a door waits. She opens it, expecting nothing but the dark, and finds Daniel. Not his body, not his presence, his memory. He sits with another woman who looks like her, their laughter hollow, rehearsed, as if replayed from a sin the house refuses to forget. Elena watches, silent, until the reflection of the other woman turns toward her, smiling with her face. The illusion fractures. The mirrored woman begins to speak, not to Daniel, but to Elena herself. "He promised me forever," she says, voice echoing through every surface. Daniel's reflection trembles beside her, trying to look away but unable to move. Elena reaches out, her voice trembling. "Who are you?" The woman's smile fades. "The one who came before you," she whispers. "The one he buried here." The glass ripples. The reflection of Daniel starts to crack, his face splitting into shards of guilt and denial. Elena begins to understand the mirror isn't a window, it's a confession. Every lie Daniel told left an imprint here, trapped between reflections, forced to replay until someone witnessed it. She kneels beside his fractured image, voice steady now. "You kept her here," she whispers. "You kept me here." The reflection looks up, pleading, but the guilt behind his eyes gleams like mercury. Behind them, the mirrored woman fades, leaving only Elena's reflection, stronger, sharper, awake. When she opens her eyes, she's back in the living room, or thinks she is. The air smells of metal and rain. The mirror stands before her, unbroken, yet Daniel's reflection is gone. Only her own remains, breathing softly. Upstairs, a door slams. His voice calls her name, panicked. But it's coming from the mirror now, not the hallway. She steps closer. "You said forever," she murmurs. The glass trembles. The voice breaks. "Please," he whispers. But karma doesn't beg. It collects. The house exhales, lighter now, quiet. Elena sits before the mirror, her reflection perfectly synchronized. She feels no fear, only clarity. Behind the glass, faint shadows drift, remnants of the other woman, of Daniel's deceit dissolving like dust. She finally smiles, small and steady. For the first time, the mirror reflects only her. Outside, dawn glows pale and clean. The cycle is over, and the truth, however cruel, has been seen. For 3 nights, the house stays unnaturally still. The mirror no longer hums, yet the air feels heavy, as though it's waiting. On the 4th night, Daniel returns. Or rather, something wearing his shape does. He stands in the doorway, rain pooling at his feet, eyes hollow but alive with dread. "Relena," he whispers, "what did you do?" His reflection already stands behind him, smiling. She feels no fear now, only the quiet gravity of justice. "You lied," she says softly. And the house remembered. The mirror brightens, not with light, but with truth. He begs her to listen, to understand, to forget. But every word he speaks echoes an instant too late. The reflection's delay now reversed. For every plea he utters, the mirror repeats his truth. "It was her first," the glass whispers, "then you." His hands shake. His reflections remain steady. "You can't keep me here." He cries. "You already are," Elena answers. The mirror swells with sound, a low vibration that makes the air quiver. His lies have nowhere left to hide. Lightning strikes again. Daniel lunges for the mirror, shouting her name. The moment his hands touch the glass, it cracks, a single fracture that runs through his reflection's chest. Elena doesn't move. The reflection leans close, its lips forming silent words. Daniel's scream drowns beneath the roar of the storm as his reflection pulls him inward, swallowing his image whole. When the thunder fades, only his echo remains. A faint heartbeat trapped in the glass. Silence returns. The storm ends abruptly as if the world itself exhales. Elena approaches the mirror. Its cracks are gone. Only her reflection remains. Flawless, calm. Behind it, faint outlines drift. Remnants of Daniel. The woman before, the ghosts of deceit sealed within their silver tomb. "Now tell me," she whispers to her reflection, "was it mercy or vengeance?" The mirrored Elena smiles, an exact match this time. "Both," it answers, though her lips do not move. By morning, the house feels lighter. Elena brews coffee, sunlight spilling across the counter. The mirror stands silent, just a mirror again. When she looks into it, her reflection smiles, no delay, no distortion. But as she turns to leave, the reflection lingers one heartbeat longer. A faint whisper follows her down the hall. Justice, finally. She doesn't look back. She doesn't have to. The mirror has confessed, and its silence now is truth itself. Weeks pass. The mirror becomes part of the room again. Quiet, harmless, obedient. Elena starts to live like she used to. Coffee at dawn, music while cooking. Soft laughter echoing through the open windows. Friends visit and call her stronger, freer. But every night, when the house settles and silence wraps around her, she feels it. A pulse behind the glass, faint and steady, like a second heartbeat. Karma doesn't vanish. It waits. One evening, as she walks past the mirror, her reflection blinks a moment too late. Detective Mara Solis arrives unannounced. She's polite, deliberate, her tone neutral, but her gaze sharp. "We never found him," she says. No signs of struggle, just gone. Elena nods, expression calm, words rehearsed. "He left." He always leaves. But the detective's reflection in the mirror doesn't mimic her posture. It leans closer, eyes wide. Curious. "You kept the mirror?" Solis asks. Elena smiles faintly. "It belonged here." The detective looks again, and swears for an instant. She sees Daniel's silhouette standing behind the glass. That night, rain falls again. Elena sits by the window, listening. The house feels alive, whispering softly through the vents. She turns toward the mirror. It glows faintly, like it's remembering. Within its depth, Daniel stands once more, silent, expressionless. But he isn't watching her. He's watching himself. His reflection moves independently, whispering words she can't hear. Elena leans closer. In the reflection, her mirrored self reaches out, touching Daniel's shoulder. He turns, and for the first time, looks afraid. Elena understands, finally. The mirror never took Daniel's life. It preserved it, forcing him to face the truth he ran from. Each lie he told replays endlessly within that silver cage. She touches the glass, feeling its faint warmth. "Let it end," she whispers. For a moment, nothing. Then the reflection bows its head. The light fades from the mirror's surface, soft and final. The house exhales once more, clean. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it sighs. Morning. The mirror now shows only sunlight, dust, and the faint trace of a woman's peace. Elena steps outside for the first time in months. The air feels new, raw, and clean. Behind her, through the open window, the mirror catches her reflection walking away, smiling softly, eyes bright with release. But when the breeze moves the curtain, the reflection remains a second longer, watching her go. Some ghosts don't haunt, they witness. And some mirrors don't lie, they remember.